Somewhere beyond the recesses of time and space, two podcasters are set adrift in a machine, picking up transmissions of movies that are forgotten but not gone.
Welcome to Movie Memory Machine 5-4, the series where we talk about 5 films thematically related to the movie we are talking about this week. I am your host, Landen Solano, joined always by my co-host, Truman Caps. Truman, it's good to see you.
Landon, it's good to be seen. What movies are we thinking about tonight?
Well, as you know, we are talking about From the Twisted Mind of David Frankel.
Mind freak.
Hope Springs!
Yes.
This film that really sent us has...
The most influential movie, I would say, that we have watched in terms of how much we think about and talk about it.
Has sparked 5 interesting films, and we'll start with the first one. One that I think is talked about a lot, but I'm curious how many people have actually seen it.
On Golden Pond, this is a, I haven't seen this. This is a eat your vegetables ass movie, I have to say. It's the kind of movie that it's like, I feel like it's on the same level as like Out of Africa, where it's like, that won some awards. I've been told it's good. I'll definitely get to that. Yeah, I'll get to that eventually.
I don't know that you need to.
I've got a hall pass.
This isn't I mean, it's classic in the sense of like, the stars aligning and the story behind it, and this is Henry Fonda and Katharine Hepburn getting the star treatment as some of their last films. It just didn't happen very often. It's a reunion between Henry Fonda and Jane Fonda, who had some strife at the time, and it's just one of those sorts of movies. As far as having a place in cinema history and influencing things, I'm not sure that it's not in the same conversation as the Citizen Kanes. So
sure. Yeah.
So
okay.
This can be bumped down your list, but if you're looking for just a charmer, you just want some nice Golden Pond vibes.
Ponds? Yeah. This is the place to get them?
Yeah. If you just want if you want sunset vibes for a movie. Like a late Sunday lazy afternoon, and you want to put a movie on, it's this film.
If you want a live, laugh, love movie, it's this.
Well, yeah, this is a little darker than Live, Laugh, Love. Oh, I was thinking Eat, Pray, Love. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Wait, so this is darker than Eating and Praying and Loving. It's also darker than Living and Laughing and Loving.
That's right.
Okay. Well, put that on the parents' guide, I guess.
I mean, this is very much about relationships, familial relationships. What has kept people glued together or tore them apart, and I think it's a good thematic reflection of Hope Springs. Not directly. I mean, Henry Fonda and Katharine Hepburn aren't in therapy. I mean, this is in 1981, so it's probably a little bit before marriage counseling, especially for an elderly couple of that time.
So maybe they also don't get any potentially criminal advice from their therapist to do certain things in public. So,
maybe not. Maybe they do. It's just not in the film.
Okay, well that's fair. Well, what you extrapolate about the movie is your own business.
Exactly.
Let's go on to the next one before we talk about this anymore.
All right. Have you seen?
Oh, The One I Love. I love The One I Love. You talk about pared down and restrained filmmaking. 3 actors, 33% of whom are Ted Danson. Oh boy. This is a spectacular little kind of lo-fi sci-fi movie about relationships.
Yes, and I think the focus being thematically the relationship part. Obviously Hope Springs is not a sci-fi film, though we came up with many theories about Hope Springs. None of we should have done some sci-fi tinged ones.
I mean, well, I don't know. I think that we don't know how Dr. Feld has such a hold over all the residents of the town. But this is also a movie about a kind of nefarious couples therapist. I mean, Ted Danson sets Mark Duplass and Elizabeth Moss up, to fix their relationship by going to this rented house, and then these weird double versions of them that are the better version of the other one both appear. I mean, that's questionable therapy, although it does kind of straighten out their lives, maybe.
And, this is only 2 years after Hope Springs. So, like, Hope Springs could have been this. I mean, can you imagine the one I love starring Tommy Lee Jones and Meryl Streep?
I think that Tommy Lee Jones has so little tolerance for bullshit that the second that there is a perfect double version of him, he'd be like, all right, fuck it, go marry that one if you like him so much, and just marches off down the road.
I don't know. I this is one I always like. It's always in the back of my mind of like, oh, maybe I'll watch that this week. And I haven't seen it in years, so I actually haven't dove into that urge, but the urge doesn't go away.
Yeah, well, hey, just like they dive into a couple of different pools in that movie, trying to rekindle the spark that used to be present in their relationship.
Should we move on to the next film?
Yep.
And is it a film, or is it a mini-series?
Oh, Scenes from a Marriage by Ingmar Bergman. Oh, man, how many hours is this?
Well, there's the theatrical version, and there is the television version.
And it is.
They are long, but this is listen, if you want something shorter or you want something more modern, there's an Oscar Isaac, Jessica Chastain version of this that was made a couple years ago for HBO.
Okay. Great. Okay. So tell me about Scenes from a Marriage. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't know anything about it.
It's what it says on the tin. This is just a married couple, and you're getting scenes from a specific period of their marriage. You see them in love, you see them in strife, you see them in betrayal, and it just paints the complexity of what a relationship is and what needs to go into it to make it work. You've got Liv Ullmann, who's one of my all-time favorite, probably top 5 best actors that ever lived. She's still living as of this recording.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, and Erland Josephson is the husband, also an Ingmar Bergman regular. He's so good. He's like kind of like an Elliot Gould in his heyday. Like he is so good at playing like these gray area characters. Hope Springs, there's no gray areas.
No, except for like Tommy Lee Jones's hairline. That's about the only gray area in that movie.
If you want like Hope Springs, but if you want the nuance, go watch Scenes from a Marriage.
Okay, and if you have like 8 hours to kill, if your big complaint about Hope Springs is that I still had some day left over when I finished watching it.
This is like if you wanted the story that led to someone going to marriage counseling. This is what this film.
How often do you want the story that makes someone like, well, tell me about your failing marriage, sir? I want to know the story that sent you to counseling.
Well, Ingmar Bergman's your man for you. Moving on to the next film.
Oh, The Awful Truth. Okay, I've never heard of this, but I immediately am reminded of a Gerard Butler movie, which is a thing called The Ugly Truth.
AKA.
And this seems to be
no. That's not the Bounty Hunter.
No, that's
AKA
that's
the
like,
X Games. Yeah, okay, that's a different film.
The Heat or something. I don't know. But anyway, tell me about The Awful Truth, which seems to be an old movie.
It is directed by Leo McCarey from 1937. You got Cary Grant again, just popping up all over the place in our series. You can't escape the ghost of Cary Grant.
That's a stirring horror movie concept. You're getting It Follows by Cary Grant. Go on.
Yeah, so you've got a married couple who are on the brink of divorce, and they're assuming they're moving forward with the divorce, and so they're starting to explore other things, and this is a kind of slapstick comedy slash romantic comedy in the before those really existed. So it's just kind of a wacky vibe throughout that finds this married couple separating and then finding that no, they really belong together.
Hope Springs could have used a couple of wacky vibes from time to time to really kind of refresh the whole circumstances.
It doesn't quite go bananas enough, pun intended. Bananas?
Imagine if Herbie had been in it. That would have really been even better. Because who's more of an expert on going bananas? You get it. I think what's interesting about this movie is that divorce is floated as a topic. I mean, which I feel like was fairly controversial in the 1930s. Even acknowledging that a marriage could end in divorce may have been kind of a salacious thing.
Yeah, this is definitely after the Hays Code is implemented, but I think that was kind of the fun thing about the comedies of the time, is like you can flirt with a topic, but as long as you come back to the status quo that the Hays, is all fine and dandy under the Hays Code, then like you're good. So if they had ended in divorce, that would have been a completely different story. This film wouldn't exist. But the fact that they proceed with the idea of divorce and acknowledge that divorce is a thing, but then, kind of come back and reinvest themselves in their marriage, that's what gets them past. I'll tell you the surprising thing about this. You've got Irene Dunne, an incredible comedian. You've got Cary Grant, just one of the most charismatic, versatile actors around that can do comedy, drama, etc. And yet, the funniest person in this movie is Ralph Bellamy, who is playing this kind of like straight arrow, kind of dumb, but rich. And Ralph Bellamy, you'll know as one of the two rich men from Trading Places.
Oh, one of the dukes.
him and Don Amici. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So, and I mean, that's also really something to kind of outact a couple of really big, charismatic stars, and to do it in a straight-laced character role.
I think it's the only way he does it is like by going, okay, I am not going to play at the fever pitch that the two of you are. I'm going to play on a completely different note on this melody, and man, he knocks it out of the park. This is a great film. I definitely recommend people go see this.
All right, I will load it up.
All right, let's move on to our final film for Hope Springs.
Oh, Before Midnight. Now, this is not the first one. This is not They're on the Train.
That's correct.
This is later. I've seen Before Sunset. Is that the first one?
That's the first one. That's the Paris one. Yep, that's where they meet.
Yeah. No, they're not in Paris though. They're in they're in somewhere in Central Europe. Oh man, if Kirsty's listening to this, she's hollering right now because she loves those movies.
Maybe it's the second one that's in Paris.
Yeah. Anyway, he has met this in the first movie. He meets this woman, and they spend one wonderful night together, walking around a European city, Prague. Maybe it's Prague, and then and having this deep connection. And they agree that they'll get together a year later. And I guess this movie posits that they didn't.
No, actually, this is the third in the trilogy. There's Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, which is the second one. That's the one where they meet again. We find out it's, I think, 5 years later, and you find out they tried separately to meet that 1 year later, and they didn't. But then fate conspires to get them back together again. They meet, and then they continue. They finally have the still deep connection. This film, Before Midnight, the third in the trilogy, they are married, they have kids, and
with each other.
And
good. Okay, I'm happy for those kids. They made it work.
It takes place in Greece, and this is very much a continuation of that complex relationship of, we've been married for some time now. We had that spark that we saw in those first two films. What happened to it? Can we keep it alive?
I hope that they can. That spark was so bright, at least in their first movie.
Yeah. Well, I won't spoil it for you, but this is very much examining the same sort of things that Hope Springs does, of like, how do you keep that going? This one, I think focuses on middle life rather than, kind of your twilight years, but there is a lot of like, what goes into a relationship? How do you keep it going? How do you remain a flight of eagles?
Look, that is the question that we all must ask ourselves in our relationships. And a movie about a relationship at the middle of your life is maybe a bit more relevant for me right now than a movie about a relationship when you're retired, because I'll never be able to retire. So, no, I really do want to keep going with this series. I gotta see the second one probably before I jump into the third. But that's I mean, you talk about something about trying to rekindle the fire that was once there. I think that the fact that there's 3 of these movies really gives you a chance to examine this relationship at every stage, which is, something that Hope Springs cannot do.
There's a lot of improvisation in it, and Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke are just really committed actors and really perfect at just being in the moment. So there's a lot going on in all 3 of the films. I would highly recommend people check out. But that is our 5 films for Hope Springs. So until next time, when we bring you 5 more for our next film, I have been Landon Solano.
And I've been Truman Caps. Au revoir.
Goodbye.
Movie Memory Machine is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. Join our Patreon at patreon.com/gruntworkpod to keep the machine running. Theme song by Porky's Groove Machine. Rate us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. For more information on today's show, visit moviememorymachine.com.